Warriors, rise. Hi, my name is Coach JV. I am the top health, mindset, and crypto coach in the world. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity within this physical world. And Warriors, what you're going to see a lot of is you're going to see a lot of YouTubers that are around cryptocurrency, finances. They're going to start backpedaling. And the reason why they're going to start backpedaling, they're going to start talking about what's important in life and how life works and what should be important to you versus money. The reason why people backpedal at this point is because of intentions. And the reason why this is an emergency message is because there's an emergency meeting coming on Monday. And what I want to share with you guys is this is nothing new under the sun. Why do they say that this is nothing new under the sun? Because what happens with human beings having a physical experience, and some of you may be turned off by now, but if those who have ears to hear and eyes to see will understand this message, and if you can understand and adopt this message, you'll become one of the wealthiest investors in the world. I promise you. If you can understand and adopt this message, you'll become one of the wealthiest investors in the world. So go look back at my messages, and my messages have always been consistent. It's all about building a foundation of heart-brain coherence, of understanding that there will be ups, there will be downs, but will always remain the same is your intentions. And the reason why you're going to see a lot of YouTubers start backpedaling is because Bitcoin didn't go to 200,000. XRP hasn't shot up. The case hasn't been settled. And so what we've been teaching, I say we as influencers or creators, is we all have been teaching is that when you reach this thing or you have the Lamborghini or you have the house, it's going to give you a better spouse or it's going to change you as a human being. And the truth is, and what's most important, is in the process of becoming a crypto millionaire or a stock market millionaire, who are you becoming? And you're going to see a lot of people backpedal into what they find is their feeling and vibration that their intentions were off. So why do you have to put emergency message, or why do you have to put clickbait? I want you to think about that for just a moment. Clickbait. As YouTubers, we have to use clickbait because we've been indoctrinated to be fish. We've been indoctrinated to need a hook to grab our gills, to pull us to the surface outside of ourselves, to pull you to the surface, to suffocate into the worldly things. Whoa, let me bring that back. Why do YouTubers have to use clickbait? Why do news stations use clickbait? Because we've been indoctrinated into being fish. And now we're goldfish with a 5-second attention span. And so if we can catch your attention and the news can catch your attention through clickbait and pull you up to the surface to make you think that you can't catch your breath because the world is going to end, because probably Jerome Powell is going to announce that they're going to raise interest rates and the market is going to collapse for a moment in time. But if you can listen to this message to this point and understand this, what I'm about to say, you'll become one of the wealthiest investors in the world. Number one is, what are your intentions? What are your intentions? What are your intentions for becoming rich in the crypto market, the stock market, real estate, or any market? What is your intentions of selling a Warrior Academy or a crypto academy? Or, and I'm talking to myself, I'm speaking into a mirror. I can see myself while I'm doing this. What are your intentions? Understand what I just said. I'm looking into a mirror reflection of myself and I'm speaking to myself. Now, the difference is other people will see this, which are other human beings who are made in the likeness of image. And it's really, I'm just looking into the mirror, right? What I don't like in you and what you don't like in me is what you need to work on in yourself. And if you can adopt these principles, I promise you'll be the wealthy investment in the world. Number one, what are your intentions? If you can align with your intentions and the heart-brain coherence of what money means to you, you'll become one of the wealthiest investors in the world. If money is nightclubs and Lamborghinis and Rolex watches and all this amazing stuff, then that is your intentions. And understand that with those intentions, there'll be risk, there'll be reward. Everything has risk and reward. So if your intentions are to have Lamborghinis, Rolexes, nightclubs, then there is risk and reward with that. There'll be reward of dopamine within the physical world, but the risk is the internal vibration that will continue to chip away at inside of you. And in turn, you'll be operating out of the 10% of your mind. When we say we only use 10% of our brain, and I'll dive into that next, we only use 10% of our brain. which is a lie. We use 100% of our brain, but in the worldly things, the clubs, the watches, the houses, the spouses, the Lamborghinis, the money, we're accessing the 10%, the left hemisphere of our brain. And if you're accessing the left hemisphere of the brain, when you have to sit in silence and when those things are not present, you're going to feel very alone. And so what you're going to need is more of that, right? You're going to need more cars. You're going to need more money. You're going to need more cocaine. You're going to need more clubs. You're going to need more dopamine. And what's going to happen is you're going to see stress within your internal relationships with people around you, right? Could be your spouse, partner, or loved one. You're going to start to see disconnect from your internal to the external. And when you have the external disconnected from the internal, it shows up in depression, anxiety, needing things outside of yourself to feel a certain way. So number one, your intentions are going to be very important. And all of your intentions are important. So if your intention is to be rich beyond your wildest dream and have all these things, know that there's risk and reward. But if your intentions are to become one of the wealthiest people in the world, to bring the money back to the people, to free them from the just over broke system, know that there's going to be risk to that because people are going to mock you and make fun of you. And the reward is that when you're in alignment with intentions, you're already rich. You don't even need physical wealth because you're already healthy and whole inside. Okay. Number one is intentions. Number two is expectations. What do you mean by expectations? If you have an expectation as an investor that a certain time frame is going to happen, Bitcoin going to 200,000 or XRP to 589 by a certain time, or the XRP case is going to end on the 17th, okay? That is an expectation. And I promise you that every single time you have an expectation, it will be fucking shattered. Think about this for just a moment. I like to bring, my skill set is bringing complex things and bringing it simplistic. So you're planning a trip to Disneyland with your kids, right? Or you're going on a trip to Cancun, or you're going somewhere, right? And you plan and plan. You're one of those planners, and you plan your trip, and you get the VIP experience, and you do all this stuff, and you have this vision, and you're so excited about it. You have all these expectations, and you're packing the day before. The kids are super excited. And you have this feeling and vibration of what it's going to be like, right? It's an expectation. You wake up the next morning. Your husband wakes up late. He's not helping pack the car. All of a sudden, you're pissed. You're fucking, right? And then all of a sudden, your kids wake up and they're not in the mood that you thought they would be and excited to go Disney. One kid has that internal vibration that's throwing off the other kids, and they start arguing. And you get in the car and you're driving to Disneyland. They're arguing in the back, and you're sitting there going, why the fuck? And then you start saying things like this to your kids. You start saying things like, why did I spend all this money on this vacation? You guys aren't even grateful, did it? And all of a sudden, the whole vibration changes. You get to Disneyland. You're fighting with your spouse. You're like, why are we even married? We don't even love each other anymore. And then you take that perfect picture at Disneyland in front of the thing and you smile. And everybody in the physical world on Instagram sees that you're having a perfect time, but your expectations are all fucking shattered. In turn, if you have intentions, very different. If you have intentions, it's very different. Intentions are understanding that things are going to go wrong. That things are going to go wrong, and your intentions are very pure. And if your intentions are pure, when something goes wrong, it's just part of the physical experience that you're having, and it doesn't destroy anything. Because when you do a spontaneous trip, it's some of the best trips in the world because there's no expectations, but only intentions that we're going to jump on a plane and go spontaneous to Vegas or go to Disneyland spontaneously. There's no expectation, so nothing can be shattered. So number two is removing all expectations that XRP is going to go to 589, that Bitcoin is going to go to 200,000, and having intentions that if you stay consistent, which is going to be number three, if you stay consistent as an investor and you build a foundation and you remove the worldly things, that you'll always be rich. And number three is consistency. Whatever you do consistently within your life, let me repeat that. This goes out to all you influencers too and YouTubers. Whatever you do consistently in your life will finally be exposed in light. What's done in darkness comes to light. This goes to everybody out there that's trying to be an influencer or a creator. You can say something on these screens. You can do your podcast like I do. You can do your TikTok and your Instagram. But what's done in darkness eventually will come to light. That's what I've exposed myself. That's why I shared with you guys 16 years ago. I did some really shady shit as an opiate addict. And at some point, someone's going to find that stuff and it's going to be exposed. And that's why I say, I dare you to go find what I did. There's things out there that I'm not proud of that I did, but I'm actually proud of it because it made me who I am. It made me who I am today. A very vulnerable person, a great leader, someone who has great intentions, and understands who I am, right? So consistency, warriors. What you're doing consistently in your life is going to be shown. So if you consistently invest at the same time every single month or every single week, which is called dollar cost averaging, your intentions are pure, and you understand why you're doing this, you're going to be one of the richest investors in the world. Do you think Warren Buffett stares at the stock market price every day? No, he doesn't. He finds something fundamental that he wants to invest in, that he believes that the people will be invested in, and he invests consistently for a long period of time and goes back to being a grandfather, a great person, driving the same car for year after year, living in the same house that him and his wife were married in. And his intentions are to build. That's what his intentions are. You can tell his intentions are pure. There's no ego that shows up in there. So again, let's go back to the beginning. Emergency message. Yes, Monday, if the interest rates go up, you're going to see the market shake, warriors. But the question is, what does that do to you internally? So my message has always been the same, but I'm going to share with you guys. You're going to start to see influencers or creators start to change their message a little bit, because what they gave as an expectation to people, that they're going to get rich quick, that their lives are going to be different, because they become a millionaire. Nothing changes if you become a millionaire. In the process of becoming a millionaire, the only things that are going to be solved is millionaire money problems, okay? The process of becoming a millionaire, what's more important is who are you becoming? So I challenge every single person. That's why I'm not getting 30,000, 40,000 views, because I'm not constantly clickbaiting you guys. I'm giving you guys messages that are coming from the heart and brain coherence of my consistency and my intentions over and over and over and over and over again, over 20,000 social media posts. I think if you look at the right side over here, I think there's 2,400 YouTube videos, over 1,300 podcasts. My intentions have always been to come into alignment with my higher self, to share the information that I'm doing, that I'm actually doing, from a foundational level of doing something consistently over and over again with good intentions to bring the money back to free the people out of their just over broke system, is what you're seeing within my YouTube channel, what you're seeing within my podcast and my Instagram. So yes, this is an emergency message to look at you and to look in your eyes and look back at me and say, who are you? Who are you? Crypto is going to be here, warriors. If you are consistent, you'll become a wealthy investor. But what I ask you to do is seek wise counsel. Not counsel that appears to be wise, but actual wise counsel. So I'm going to share with you what you're going to see with a lot of influence. A lot of influencers or creators are going to disappear. They're going to start to backpedal on what's important in life, right? What's important now? Why are they sharing what's important? Because what you're seeing is their internal feeling being expressed out to the world, right? Their internal feelings being expressed out to the world, because like, oh my God, what is important? Yes, love is important. Yes, kindness is important. Yes, self-work and self-worth is important. Those are the things that will always be here. Because we're warriors, we're going to go through some of the worst economic times in the world, and 99% of you are not prepared for it. And so in the process of becoming a crypto millionaire, a crypto investor, who are you becoming? That's what I'm asking you. Who are you becoming? So my message will continue consistently every single day, from good intention, to help myself become a better human being. Not asking anybody to trust a word I say, but in turn, trust the feeling and vibration it creates within your body and act accordingly. Some of you look at me as a fool, and some of you look at me as someone, a role model, and some of you look at me as, who is this guy? But who am I? I'm a man who has found myself. And where I found myself was in silence and sitting with my higher self. God, higher consciousness. I love the life of Jesus. I'm non-religious. I speak my mind. If you listen to my podcast, the Coach JV podcast, I just go off on my podcast. I'm someone who looks in the mirror and doesn't look at other people and says, you caused this problem, or Biden's causing this problem, or this is causing this problem. I look at myself and say, I am the cause and effect through my thoughts, connected with heart-brain coherence, connecting the heart and mind together and consistently repeating the same things over and over again. I'm so happy and grateful for the money that comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. And I study every single day to help people understand how powerful they are. So I'll end by saying this: you are powerful. You are already great. You are already worthy. You are already healed. Let me end by telling you a little bit about my story. So 16 years ago, on December 18th, 2006, I attempted suicide. I took a massive amount of opiates because I had a massive opiate addiction. I was chasing this thing outside of myself, these worldly things: the cars, the spouse, the house, the drugs, the clubs. And I experienced all the worldly things worse. And what I found was, as I reached further and further, I needed more and more and more. And I kept getting further and further away with who I was, the great I am. And I went so far out, and I got to visit the dark side, which was a devil, which was hell, which was me. And I decided to do the most selfish act in the world. With a 3-year-old daughter by my side, not next to me, not during the time that I committed suicide, but I had a 3-year-old daughter that I was supposed to be responsible for and taking care of, and I attempted suicide. I took a massive amount of opiates, and I woke up to a book called The Secret. A phone call from my mom 48 hours later. She woke me up from a self-induced coma or whatever it was. I survived it. And I realized that thoughts become things, and I've been on a 16-year journey. And during that time, about a year later, after my suicide and completely collapsed a business, I had to file bankruptcy. So I've been a drug addict. I filed bankruptcy. I've been in nightclubs snorting cocaine and ecstasy. I've had a drug overdose. I had 9 different drugs in my system when I had my first drug overdose. I wrote a book about it. You can read about it. I wrote the book to tell my parents the truth because I wasn't afraid of the truth anymore, because the truth is why I became who I am today. So through that journey, I went into banking. I met a mentor that got me a job. Then I moved up into executive very quick in banking. And I moved up to a vice president at a bank. And while I was in the bank, I went through another great awakening. I thought that was it. It was a Cinderella story. I went from drug addict, opiate addict, fucking couldn't take care of my daughter, to an executive now, vice president, making great money, the 535i BMW, the house, all the things. And then all of a sudden, Warriors, a couple things happened to me. Number one is I started to learn the banking system at a deep level. I went to what's called CBA Executive. I haven't really told this full story. A CBA Executive Banking School. And at CBA Executive Banking School, I learned how banks work at a very deep level, and it started to confuse me. And I had another great awakening. So I started to understand how our banking system works. And I understood that it wasn't in alignment with how, because if I was doing what they were doing, I'd be in jail. And so I started to feel out of alignment within my physical paradigm that I was working in, and it seemed to be a Cinderella story. So the judgment fact came in. If I leave this job, people are going to judge me. I went from drug addict to an executive. That story was over right there. That could have been a Cinderella story, but I started to follow this intuitive tug, which is my sacral here. Okay. And so I decided to leave the bank, and there was a couple of reasons why I decided to leave the bank. I was in fake news. I was put in fake news. You can find the article, Warriors. I remember getting a phone call, and I was sitting at a desk, and I get a phone call, and I can't share the full story because I don't know if I can, but I get a phone call, and they're like, "You're going to hit the New York Times today. You can actually look for this article." I've never told this story outwardly and share it with you guys. You can actually look for this. And there's facts, figures, numbers, logic that prove that I was not the person that did this. And so as I aligned with my intentions and realized that I was not in the right job, it was interesting. All of a sudden, things started to happen within the physical world that were trying to stop me from telling the truth or telling my truth. And I ended up in a fake article, not a fake article, but it was an article, and I was named somebody who did something that wasn't true. And I realized it was because I was exposing my true intentions, and I didn't feel in alignment with what was happening. And whatever that evil force was trying to stop me. And so what happened was they did the complete opposite to me. It woke a giant inside of me and said, "You know what? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." It realized that I can't trust people in the physical world that have out of alignment intentions. And I decided to walk out of corporate America. And I decided to go on a journey of freedom. And I decided to be vulnerable and expose myself before anybody can expose me. And I decided to go on a journey to find myself. And what you're experiencing right now, 16 years later, is a man who's done deep spiritual work, who has worked on myself on a daily basis. And I don't blame anybody outside of myself. I'm financially free now. But number one, I'm the richest man in the world. And the reason why is because you can't take anything from me. If you take away my money, you take away my little humble abode, and you take away my car, and you take away my businesses, I'm already the richest man in the world because I built a foundation of knowing who I am, the great I am. And what I'm here to encourage people and inspire people is to find that, because that's why our world is where we're at today. That's why you're so concerned about the emergency message on Monday, because we've been taught to live outside of ourselves and to grab onto something outside of ourselves. And there's nothing outside of you that's going to change you. Everything you need is inside of you. You are powerful. You're amazing. And hopefully sharing my personal story will give you a deeper connection with who I am. Some of you it may turn off and some of you it may inspire. But if right now you're stuck on opiates and you're deep in a drug addiction or a porn addiction, Warriors, it's going to be okay. I promise you. I've been through all that. I filed bankruptcy, almost 15 years ago, Warriors. I've been there. I've been in the depths of hell. But I'll tell you what, there's hope. There's hope. And money's not going to fix your problem. So I want to end starting with what I say. You're going to see a lot of influencers and creators backpedaling to what's important. And I'm glad that you guys are, because what is important is love. What is important is us coming together as human beings. And if we all come together and lock arm in arm, do you realize that there's a lot more of us than there are of them that we think is controlling the system? And if we come together in love, and you creators out there start to show love and true intentions, that we could literally change the world. So I provided a tool for you guys. It's a tool. People say to me, why do you always push your academy? It's not pushing my academy. I'm proud of my academy. We've had over 4,029 warriors worldwide in 17 different countries. And why do people stay? Why do we have 1,800 active warriors actively participating? We've had 4,029 and 1,800 actively participating because our intentions are pure. Subconscious mind programming, goal setting, vision board creation, exercise, nutrition, 130 cryptocurrencies, 7 calls a week, human connection, like-minded individuals. We created this to bring an ecosystem to people together to rise into their higher consciousness, however that represents for them, to understand how to be fundamental investors, to bring the money back to their family, and to repair all this shit. To take the power from the elite 1% and spread it out to everybody. But Jim Rohn says if you give $1 million to every single human being, it'll end up in the same hands. You know why? Because none of them are working on their internal vibration. And none of them change their relationship or their subconscious mind programming they've been indoctrinated into since the 1900s. And so until we change the indoctrination system, it will always be the system. And we will always be poor. So I choose to be rich. I choose to be healthy. I choose to be wealthy. And I hope that you will too. Click the description down below and join our free Facebook group, our free Discord, or our Warrior Academy. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And as we always say, Warriors, I'm getting my shit together. So I hope that you will too.